Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 5 of TKSax Talks Mechwarrior Online. Today, we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about the Town Hall on 6/23/2017, and particularly the Solaris thing that Russ proposed at the end of the Town Hall. The second thing we're going to talk about is the Civil War PTS that is ongoing right now, and how I think that will affect Mechwarrior Online. So let's have a look at a few of my ideas for Solaris. So the first thing I want to say about a Solaris is I don't want to pay for it ahead of time. Russ floated the idea of having some sort of Kickstarter to get interest for Solaris, and I don't think we should do that. That gives people a certain amount of ownership. We have seen this with how the Founders Program was promised a lot of things that were never delivered, and I understand why that happens. That's the nature of game development. But I think that would be a bad thing to do for Solaris. So if PGI is going to make Solaris, they should just make it. And we can talk about how to make money in Solaris for PGI after they already develop it. So the first thing we'll talk about is the different game modes in here. As you see, I have a list of game modes here: 1v1 by weight class, 2v2 by weight class, 4v4 by weight class or tonnage, and then a couple of free-for-all ideas. The 1v1 weight class seems like the no-brainer. That's the one that everybody seems to want, and so I think that's the one they should definitely do. And how they limit that by weight class is really up to them. I mean, it could literally be light versus light, or you could even narrow it down like we did in the MRBC MWA, where we did 20 to 25, 30 to 35 was a class, and you kind of did it by 5-ton increments. And you could even, depending on how PGI want to do it, maybe you even let lights challenge mediums challenge heavies challenge assault or something like that. Or even you do it like Mechwarrior 4, where you have to work your way up through light, medium, heavy assault if you want to. So 2v2 opens up a lot more options. You really can do this by weight classes tonnage, as I have up here. And you could even leave it up to the players. So say Team A wants to challenge Team B, so Team A says, hey, we're going to challenge you at 100 tons. And so that means they could bring 2 hunchbacks, or they could bring a timberwolf and an Arctic cheetah. It all depends on which is actually. A timberwolf would be too much. We'll say a summoner and an Arctic cheetah. And that would be up to the team on how they want to respond. They could even counter challenge. I don't know if we want to get that complex or not. Or PGI could just have predetermined events. Hey, you know what? We're going to have a medium mech event, so all mediums, both 1v1, 2v2, you guys are all going to do medium classes today. Have at it. So I think you get a lot more options when you start bringing in 2v2. I think it would be fun to allow the players to say, hey, we're going to challenge either by weight class or by mech class. So we're going to do mediums. We're challenging you in medium mechs. So that means anything from cicadas to storm crows. And have at it. There's no weight limit in there. It's just a class limit. Or like I said before, 100 tons, and you're talking about a Warhammer and a Locust or something, and whatever. It can be up to 100 tons. And really, 4v4 would kind of follow the same format I was talking about with 2v2. You certainly could do it 4v4, lights versus light, so 8 lights on the field. And then also you can do tonnage. Hey, it's 200 tons. And basically all the same ideas and options happen that you have for 2v2. And I think that would be a lot of fun. And the last two, there aren't 2 modes that I particularly interest me, but I do think a lot of people are interested in free-for-alls. Big, like we saw Mechwarrior 4, 16 mech or 24 mech free-for-all, both solo or team, and just go at it. And you get a prize to the team or the solo player who wins, and have at it. And I think a lot of people would enjoy that. Me personally, I won't. I'm not a huge fan of free-for-all matches, but like I said, that's just me. But I think that would be fun. That could also be an end-of-season event. Maybe you throw all the weight class winners, like I said, just like in Mechwarrior 4, you throw all the weight class first and second place people into a 16 or 24 mech solo free-for-all to see who becomes the ultimate champion. So then the other part is how they do the seasons and rewards and that kind of stuff. Really, I think these should be short seasons, 2 to 3 month seasons in the game. They open up the queues for Solaris and you play. And I think you could do it where you run 1v1 and 2v2 at the same time. And then maybe 4v4 is a queue all to itself for a couple months, and then you do these big solo free-for-all tournaments as either weekend events or, I don't know, maybe monthly events just for challenges and the people who win and stuff. Well, then you get to the fun part, rewards. What do I get for winning Solaris? Well, I think you can have a lot of special rewards. I mean, I'd love to see a special camo, but I know that camos are a lot of work for PGI because they basically have to make a camo for each mech. So I mean, maybe they make for the grand 1v1 champion. I don't know. Maybe they give them a special mech. I mean, that might be a bit much. I can understand time and work that's put in that, but some sort of special rewards, whether it's MC, premium time, C bills. Maybe they can make a special decal. There you go. That's the best answer. It would be a special decal. I'm a Solaris winner. I'm the 1v1 2017 Solaris winner. I think that a lot of people would enjoy that. And also some sort of in-game designation. I've seen this in other games where it displays where your rank is and what level you were in the competitive queue. Because I mean, that's what this would be. This would be a competitive queue, and basically say, hey, you made it up to, you were in the top 10%. So say that's level 2 of the 1v1 thing, and a special in-game designation would be kind of neat. And the last part would be a way for PGI to make money. If they really want to try to make money off this, they could have a pilot license where you have to pay either a certain amount of MC, or even maybe you have to pay real money, a small fee, $5 or $10 to get a Solaris pilot license. This way PGI has the freedom to make Solaris the way they kind of want to without giving people the idea that, hey, I pre-funded this, I have bigger say in this. But it gives them a way to make money off of it, but they have the freedom to really kind of make it any way they want and not really be too beholden to the people who kickstart their idea of Solaris. So those are my ideas for Solaris. I think there's some good ideas in there, and heck, there's probably some bad ideas. I'm sure people will let me know, but I do think it's exciting that PGI is considering doing Solaris. So let's move on to the next thing, which is the Civil War PTS, which is introducing a lot of new weapons to MWO and could be potentially game-changing. So I've got some gameplay running here of me playing on the PTS, and I left the sound on so you could hear some of the cool weapon sounds. So really the biggest change, I think to me the biggest change is the inclusion of light fusion engines for the inner sphere. This will help several mechs in some ways, but I don't think it's going to be quite the change that I hear some people wanting. You are going to have to either give up some speed or firepower to put a light fusion in. One of the popular mechs is, say, a Battlemaster 2C with 5 large pulse lasers. You just really can't, you just can't swap the light fusion engine in and expect to have the same performance. You're either going to have to give up a pulse laser, or you're going to have to go a lot slower. And that going slower does actually affect your survivability, even though you do get more from a light fusion engine. So I think you're going to end up seeing stuff that becomes a balance of, do I want the speed and firepower, or do I want a little bit more survivability and slower speed, or a little bit more survivability and less firepower? And it's going to be a game of balance of how I want to use a light fusion engine. I do think there are several medium and heavy mechs that will be really helped by this. In fact, the one off the top of my head I know I'm going to change immediately is my Warhammer 6R that runs dual Gauss and 4 medium lasers. I'm going to slap a light fusion engine there right away and lose a little bit of top speed, but I gain a whole lot more in survivability. So more weapons on the IS side, of course. The ER lasers in general are going to be a help for the IS. Rack autocannons so far have been disappointing, but I can see some adjustments going in there. Of course, the nasty ghost heat bug that's not necessarily related to racks has showed its ugly head, so they got to do some coding to fix that. But right now, racks require too much face time for the amount of damage they do. They just don't, you have to stand out and keep your reticle on target, and they just don't seem to deliver yet. I think it'll be better if we can figure out the ghost heat bug in the PTS to really get a real feeling of what they are, so you can mount multiples of different caliber of racks. So we'll see with that. MRMs, I'm not sure how I feel about MRMs. I think they're good. I think the bigger MRMs aren't worth it. I was having some fun in a catapult with 2 MRM-20s. I think that's a good range for MRMs. Rocket launchers are kind of one of those things that people are up in arms about, because you can basically create a one-shot wonder, a mech that can kill any mech. But then, of course, the mech that puts that much rocket launchers on it and say it has no backup weapons basically has taken itself out of the game too. So I don't know. I know they made some changes on Ghost Heat and how the rocket launchers work. So we'll see how that comes and balances out. And of course, over on the clan side, we have the addition of micro lasers, micro pulse lasers, and clan heavy lasers. The micro lasers seem like they're okay in the right situation. I think clan heavy lasers right now are pretty much not usable. The duration is far too long, but that could be adjustment. But you know, I do think there needs to be a differentiator, and really all weapons don't have to be usable in all spots. I mean, there still could be a place if they get the duration right, even if longer than it should be than the other weapons, for the heavy lasers. And then of course the clans got ATMs right now. People are kind of upset with the minimum range and the optimal range. I'm not so bothered by that. I think it's more of an issue in 4v4 than it will be in 12v12. I think ATMs could add a nice element to the game because of their flat arc. You can use them in more places. I think that's one of those weapons we have to see how it performs once we get it in the 12v12 queue. Well, there are a few other things that are somewhat what I consider important on the Civil War PTS. Light ferrofibrous is a nice addition for the IS that'll allow them to, add weapons to some builds where they didn't have enough slots for regular ferro, but maybe they have enough for light ferro, and that allows them to maybe stuff a few more weapons or heat sinks or armor or something in there. A stealth armor's also been added to the game. It's kind of a fun mechanic. I built the ultimate troll machine. It was a Cicada 3M with a light Gauss rifle and ECM and stealth armor, and basically because the Gauss rifle doesn't generate any heat, I could run around the whole time with stealth armor on. There needs to be some adjustments with stealth armor. Right now when you turn it on, you lose all input. Both your teammates and you lose all input, so someone wouldn't know if you were friendly or not if you ran in front of them. Of course, you can't tell who's friendly or not on your HUD. So those are my thoughts on Solaris and the Civil War PTS. I am sure there's some things I forgot or missed. There's a lot of stuff coming in with the Civil War PTS that's not even related to the mechs that are being added. I do think that the weapons coming in seemingly underwhelming at the time on the PTS are a good thing. It gives the PGI the ability to adjust up. There's still people complaining about weapons being nerfed 2 years ago because they took power away. It's always easier to add more than it is to take it away. I think it's a good place to start, and I'm glad they're letting us give us a test, and they've already adjusted it once. Hopefully we'll get another adjustment before this goes live to see the direction that some of these weapons are going. So anyway, I appreciate you listening to my video. I hope to make one next week, and I'll see you on the game grid.